Good afternoon. This morning when I came, some of the dignitaries informed me that the basic purpose of this conference is to create awareness about decarbonization globally as well as within the country, and to create sustainable manufacturing, sustainable environment. I like to inform you that we are doing our bit and we are on this journey since more than 4 years. Just to create awareness, some 6 months back, we had started advertising on national channels like CNBC, TV18, CNBC Awaz, G News, ET Now, etc., etc. So I'll show you the clippings of our advertisement. We had run a series of 3 ads.
The beauty of Mother Nature is cherished by one and all, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, here, there, and everywhere. To preserve this beauty, collective efforts are required to reduce carbon emissions. We are contributing our bit by changing the way we make steel. Kalyani Foresta, steel for a greener planet. The beauty of Mother Nature is cherished by one and all, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, here, there, and everywhere. To preserve this beauty, collective efforts are required to reduce carbon emissions. We are contributing our bit by changing the way we make steel. Kalyani Foresta, steel for a greener planet. The beauty of Mother Nature is cherished by one and all, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, here, there, and everywhere. To preserve this beauty, collective efforts are required to reduce carbon emissions. We are contributing our bit by changing the way we make steel. Kalyani Foresta, steel for a greener planet.
Our ads show basically all forest, water, and the mother nature, snow or ice, where there is basically zero pollution. Now, as you may be aware, that we produce in our country around 140 million ton of steel, and steel is one of the largest contributor towards CO2, which is almost 12%, and on an average we produce 2.54 ton of CO2 per ton of steel. So it's a issue whether we are producer of CO2 or we are producer of steel, which is a byproduct. Globally, 2 billion ton of steel is produced, and the percentage of CO2 is 7%, and on an average it is 1.92%. That means the average CO2 generated in the country is far higher, which offers much larger scope for reduction. Now, our journey for decarbonization started some 4 years back. We started working on it in sometime 2021, and subsequently we were invited by the then Steel Minister, Mr. Ramcharan Pratap Singh, and subsequently Mr. Scindia, and we had made a very detailed presentation in Vigyan Bhavan in May 2022, how we can decarbonize steel industry, what can be a long-term program and what can be done in short term. And we also informed that time that it's a matter of some time, maybe around 6 months, that Kalyani Steel will start producing green steel. Now, how do we decarbonize steel industry? If we look at a manufacturing process of steel, integrated steel plant, it starts from iron ore, it starts from with coke oven, sinter or pellet plant, blast furnace, and then up to blast furnace we produce hot metal, and then subsequently steel manufacturing in SMS, where we can have VOF, BF or EF, ladle furnace or VD, VOD for the refining, and then casting, rolling and finishing. Sorry. Now, almost 70% of CO2 is generated in the first part, manufacturing hot metal. And subsequently, it is only around 30%. We felt we have two plants. One is integrated steel plant in Karnataka, in Hospet, and second is in Pune, which is an electric arc furnace based plant. We thought, first, why don't we make an attempt to decarbonize our steel plant in Pune, where the manufacturing process is based on electric arc furnace. Now, how do we decarbonize even in that plant? So, there are various things. One is recycle. So, utilize all the materials, all the basic raw materials to the extent possible recycled, which means basically we started using majority of our raw material, close to 100% as scrap. There we went to the extent that from our customers of steel, we had a tie-up that after they use the material, whatever is the scrap they generate, it will be returned to us. So it was a circular economy on which we started working and getting back that scrap. So much so that we did it for certain alloy steels to our customers even in US. So not only while producing those components, but at end of the life, those components we have started importing back and started melting them back. So basically we became a conversion agent where we are getting back whatever is the scrap generated while in the processing of the material or end of the life and convert it back to the products or alloy steels, whatever is required. Second is our aim was to use 100% renewable energy. And in the process, we had set up almost 75 megawatt of solar power and 8 megawatt of windmills near Pune. Then another thing is, what is the way we can replace all the biofuels which we are using, all the fossil fuels by biofuels or RE power. Next is, as I mentioned before, all our electricity to be RE, and then wherever in the furnaces we are using fossil fuel, whether it is furnace oil or diesel or any other thing, we make them based on electricity, and if somewhere electricity is not possible, then it is biofuel. And the last one is, but not the least, is make every operation much more efficient. And we found that by doing this, we can reduce CO2 emissions to the extent of almost 80 to 90% in our steel plant. But this has several challenges. One, the country has limited scrap availability. It has worked when it is one plant of ours where we have tied up with our customers and could buy balance part of the scrap from the market. Then we are getting RE power, but then there is a challenge that 24 hours round the clock RE power may not be available. So we worked out with the state government where we got some banking facilities, and for rest of the time we can get power at an incremental price. So our cost has gone up, but we can get RE power round the clock, which may be difficult since we were the first one. This was the first attempt that we got cooperation from various agencies, including the state governments, and hence we could do it. Then the next one is technology development for large scale RE power production and storage. Now definitely we are also working how to store power, RE power, so that 24/7 we can utilize RE power. So this was related to a secondary steel plant, what we call starting from based electric arc furnace or induction furnace. However, how do you do it in an integrated steel plant? So this is what was worked out by us almost 4 years back, that what we really need to do, we need to find a reducing agent in place of carbon, where you reduce iron ore Fe2O3 or Fe3O4 and produce Fe. Currently we are producing by coke or carbon. So the nearest and best alternative what we found was hydrogen. And then how to produce hydrogen from RE power. We found that at the current level of cost of electricity, the consumption required, the RE power required to convert 1 kg of ore or to produce 1 ton of DRI, it requires almost 55,000 units, 55 kg of hydrogen to produce 1 ton of DRI, gas-based, hydrogen-based DRI, and which in terms of the cost was turning out to be pretty expensive, because first you produce hydrogen and then you convert it into DRI, it consumes almost 4,000 units of electricity. So which was huge, and the prices at which energy is available, it is not really viable. But technically it is feasible. Next is this green DRI need to be melted either in electric arc furnace or submerged arc furnace, and subsequent process of rolling and all are same. Now, globally, manufacturing of green DRI was established by Saab in Sweden some 4 years back. They had set up a small plant to produce 1 ton per hour, and it's working. We had seen that plant. But now in Sweden, a large integrated steel plant is being set up based on hydrogen, and let's see when it comes out what sort of challenges they are going to face. But the positive part in Sweden is 24/7 green energy is available basically from hydropower plants. There is a lot of water available, and hydroelectric electricity is available. Now, we had set up India's first green steel plant, where we produced little over 200,000 tons in Pune. As far as Kalyani Group is concerned, we have sales turnover of over $4 billion. We are manufacturing in more than 23 locations globally, and we have a market cap of more than $14 billion. As I mentioned before, we have both the steel plants. One is integrated steel plant, another one is electric arc furnace based in Pune, and we manufacture 100% engineering steel made to order. Now, in our plant in Pune, we produce materials for aerospace, space, defense, energy, oil and gas, nuclear applications, and as a group, we are exporting fairly large defense products, including highly automated guns, armored vehicles, and all. And we are the company which is able to produce high strength, high fatigue, high corrosion resistance steels for these applications, including space. So as I mentioned before, we changed our raw material mix, we changed our fuel mix, we changed all our power to RE power. That's how we could produce green steel. We have registered the brand as Kalyani Ferresta. Kalyani is of course on the name of the Kalyani, and Ferresta, it is basically based on the renewable energy. And as I mentioned before, we had in total, we had set up 82 megawatt of RE power. So when we talk of emissions, it is scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. Scope 1 is whatever CO2 you generate within the plant. Scope 2 is the electricity, and scope 3 is various things which are whether you are purchased material, whether you are transportation, whether you are travel, and all those things. So scope 1 is where in our plant we have reduced CO2 emissions basically by converting all our furnaces either on electricity or RE based, which is RE based, and use of biofuel. We started utilizing 100% RE power, and we, as far as scope 3 is concerned, all our materials which we purchased, we have tried to see that we are able to buy basically recycled material where CO2 is very little. We are trying to see that upstream transportation is utilizing electric vehicles for distribution within the city or the customers within the city. As far as the long distance transportation is concerned, that's a challenge, but that will happen. We are insisting our employees to use e-vehicles for travel, local travels at least. For interstate or foreign travel, it is still not possible, but to the extent possible, we have already started doing that. So these are some of the measures which we have taken even in scope 3. So on 22nd December 2022, we launched our brands Kalyani Ferresta, where at that time we guaranteed that 190 kg of CO2 we are generating per ton of crude steel as far as scope 1 and scope 2 is concerned, and for the rolled product it is 350 kg. But we can also offer net zero CO2 product which we have branded as Kalyani Ferresta Plus, where whatever CO2 we are generating can be offset by carbon credits. But as on date, we are producing crude steel having CO2 of only 105 kg in crude steel, and if with scope 1, 2 and 3, it is less than 400 kg. Our steel minister, at that time Mr. Scindia, was happy to launch our product in Delhi, and all the steel ministry people are there. Mr. Sinha, Secretary Steel, was there, and Ms. Goyal, Additional Secretary Steel. Now, as I mentioned before, today with scope 1, 2, 3, we can offer crude steel less than 400 kg. We are also offering green steel with scope 1, 2, 3 in, say, bearing steel with less than 600 kg embedded CO2. Now, these are the workings which have been vetted, verified by DNV, and we are following all the relevant standards like ISO 14404-2, ISO 14064-1 and ISO 14067-2018. These are all internationally acceptable standards which are being followed by us for certification of our steel. DNV is the agency which is certifying and verifying our steel, and in their certificate they mention all the relevant details including the heat numbers, and the certification is heat by heat. It is not in general for the plant. Now we have got tremendous global response for our steel.
We have 1 minute more.
Yeah, sure. I'm just finishing it. Now, Harvard Business School has written a case study on us. It is already there on the website, and anybody specifically wants, I can forward it to him about our journey to produce green steel. We have been facilitated by Ambassador of Sweden with our collaboration with Volvo to supply green steel. They are the company which are already paying premium to us. Now, German government officials headed by their Mr. Stefan Wengel, Parliamentary State of Secretary, he had come with a complete team of more than 15 people. He spent a day with us to understand how we have done this, how we are producing green steel. Same thing with the US General Counsel, Mr. Mike Henke. He had come with his complete team to study what we are doing, how we have done, and to what extent we can support their country. Same thing with the ZF, where we have signed a supply agreement for the green steel. Then it is for SKF and many more. Thank you so much. We will be happy to support anybody in the journey of producing green components, green steel, or any of your green products. Thank you.